Okay, well this will be day one, and we're talking livestock this week, and that is, I got a lot of content on that, and you may notice that I'm huffing and puffing a little bit right now, and that is because from my perch, or it's that second set of windows in on the house, that's where I sit to have breakfast. So that was my first stop this morning. Actually, no, it wasn't my first stop, but I was out, and then I was doing some stuff, and then I go back in when breakfast is ready, and that was like 8 o'clock. And I'm noticing a bunch of pigs lined up at this fence. And I don't see their heads, I just see their butts. So they're facing away from me, and they're doing something, right? So I know what it is. I've seen it enough times. Something's wrong with the electric fence, and they've stepped over it, and they're eating at the grass at the base of the woven wire. So let me show you how this is done. These guys are feeding right now. They're feeding right off the trailer, and they're doing that to keep the pigs away from the fence so I can fix it. But this is the way this is done. And I've showed this a lot of times, but this is what works. I'll tell you what else works, is not following directions. That really works too. And then you will definitely have a hard time with your pigs. All right, you see this fence post right here, the tall one? That's holding up the woven wire, and I think you can see the woven wire. On the inside of that, see that stubby? That's got a single strand of wire on it. Let me turn around, maybe get a better shot. Single strand of wire. When we install that, we put it a foot up, a foot off the ground, and a foot in from the fence, standing off from the fence. So then that one strand of electric becomes the primary fence. It's the primary. That's what they're going to see first. That's what they're going to encounter first. And then I have a solar charger over there. I move it around, but it's over there right now. I have two of them actually. And they encounter that first, and then they never get anywhere near the secondary fence, which is the woven wire. Now some people will say, well, you don't really need that. You can use hog panels. Well, I say, you do your hog panels, and you'll be chasing pigs. Eventually, you'll be chasing pigs. You can listen to me, somebody that does this for a living, or you can listen to the guy at Tractor Supply that sells fence. But if you do it this way, your pigs aren't going to get out. And with livestock, what we want to do is we want to build in redundancy to the systems, to the processes, to the fencing systems that we're doing. Redundancy. Redundancy being, in my case, I don't want my pants to fall down, so I wear a belt. Just in case my belt fails, I got some suspenders on. So I got redundancy. My pants aren't going to fall down. No way, no how. And I think that's what's wrong with some of the youth today. They don't understand redundancy, because I see a lot of kids walking around and their pants have just fallen down. But they're too dumb to know that that's happened. Okay, so pigs. Pigs are a great resource. They're great in so many ways. If we want to talk about resource protection, or protection of our what we've produced, you can store it in a pig, right? And you can store in them the stuff that you don't want for your house. So here's an example. We have a big garden, and we grow enough to sustain us through the winter. A lot of times there's too much, you know. I'd rather have way too much than too little. But if I have too much and it's really great stuff, hey, maybe I'll share it with my neighbors. Maybe they'll have something to share with me. But if they have enough and I have more enough that I've stored, then I can store it get this, I can store that produce in them. Because they'll eat it and they'll store it. You can see that pig right there is 270 pounds. He's stored lots of nutrient. Lots and lots of nutrient. And it's good stuff. As we found out last weekend in our class with pigs, we just scratched the surface on them and it took us 3 days. But the amount of things that you can do with a pig is really the goodness of the pig, because they're so versatile. See that pig right there? He's got a fresh water over there. Look what he's drinking out of. A muddy puddle. Tastes good, huh? That's what they do. That's what they do. I got to supply them water until it freezes, and then there's no more water. But by then they're going to have a lot more of this white stuff on the ground. And they prefer to eat snow than they do to drink water. Of course, don't get in a conversation about that on the internet, because people will think that you're not treating your animals right. But been doing this long enough where I can tell you, if you put water out for them in the wintertime, they'll just play in it. But they will eat snow if it's available. That's not going to apply to everybody, but up here in the north we get plenty of it. Okay, pigs. I really like them because I know how to do everything that there is to know about pigs. You know, I'm like Forrest Gump. I know all there is to know about shrimping. And I really don't, but I know a lot about them. And what I'd like you to think about, let's say that you can't do pigs where you live, or you can't do cattle where you live, but you want to do some livestock. Let's talk about rabbits. Let's talk about chickens. They're really good. Even goats are good. You can do them. They don't make a lot of noise, and they will store a lot of energy for you. Now, pigs, we touched on this subject the other night when we were talking gardening in the support call. This used to be a produce area. We used to think we wanted to be produce farmers and take all this fine fare to the farmer's market, you know. But then we found out how much work goes into this, and when you go to the farmer's market, there's always somebody who can do it cheaper, and you wind up bringing this stuff home and feeding it to the pigs anyway. So basically make enough money to pay for the fuel, but not for the people that are coming. So it wasn't working for us, at least here, the farmer's market that I have here, the ones that are available. But we don't have a huge population center like somebody in Boston would. So what we do is we use this produce area to grow produce, but then we direct feed it to them. Direct feed it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here. So I've shown you this area. I've shown you this area real time out here, and then I'm going to go to the whiteboard, and I'm going to show you what I've done. It's kind of a discovery, I think. And this discovery, I mean, you could use this in several different types of livestock. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you calves later, and I am using this principle with the calves because right now you can see these kids are feeding bread. That's just junk bread. I got a junk bread contract with a company, and so we have plenty of feed for them. But if we didn't, where are you going to get the food to feed that many animals? There's 25 of them, and they're all near 300 pounds. So what's that? That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of feed that's gone into them throughout their year and something life. So that's something to think, and that's where scrounging comes in. You know, a scrounge contract is nothing better than that. But those guys largely have eaten produce right off of this field. I didn't show the Homesteaders Guild this, but we did grow some turnips on here, some forage radishes, I'm sorry, and they got about 15 inches long, but they didn't get the weight on them that they would have if I had planted them earlier. They got to be about that big around, but normally they'll get to be about 8 inches in diameter or 10, and they can get to be about 2 feet long. So that's some serious eating for these guys, and it keeps them busy for a long, long time. And the nice thing about livestock and the Homesteader system is livestock coupled with, you know, flora and fauna. When you couple them, you get a gain having both of them together. And here's what I mean by that, and I'm going to expound on this a little at the whiteboard. But this soil out here is a living organism, and they're constantly adding to it. They create gut bacteria, and then it comes out and they're adding it to this. And this soil, I can tell you, used to just be a sand pile. There was nothing here. Didn't grow grass even very good. And so that's why I kind of used it, because I thought I could. This is where I was going to grow cantaloupes. I had this great idea. I was going to grow cantaloupes and be a millionaire. Didn't work. Didn't even come close to working. So we did a soil sample, and it was like, wow, this soil is no good. This is sand. This is beach sand. So we added the animals to it and started growing whatever would grow. And I think I've talked to you guys about rye grass. It's pretty durable, really cheap. A bag of it is like 10 bucks, 50-pound bag or 60-pound bag. And the stuff will grow on a sponge. So you can put a ton of it in and walk away from it, and you will get nice growth. And then you turn these animals on it, and they'll eat it. They'll eat all the grass. They'll eat all the roots. And what they manure out will be the building blocks of fine soil here, right? So this area, as I will show you at the whiteboard, is 300 long, 100 wide, and it's divided in 3. So I can move them around, and they'll always have something to do. They'll always have something to eat, something to work up, a fresh place to be. A lot of times with livestock, if you have them on a little pen or a paddock and they're there too long, you can sour the soil, and it takes a long time for that soil to come back to sweetness. And sweetness, I mean, you should learn after a while how to get in touch with your instincts as a human being, what you were given to ensure your survivability. You have it. It's just not awake in you yet. But you have to work at that. When you're out and about, you're someplace near a forest or something, some virgin ground, pull it back, grab some of that soil, take a good smell of it. You actually bringing those particulates into your body if you can smell it. You're bringing them into your lungs. They'll become part of you. You should take some of that soil. I got a phone call. If that soil smells good to you, you should take some of it in, put it in a capsule and down it, or mix it up make a mud shake with it. You know, you should increase your gut flora. I know it sounds gross, but if it's virgin soil, there's nothing in there that's going to hurt you at all. But then you will learn to identify sweet soil. And you should be able to come out here on your grow area, pull some up, and say, this is okay, this is okay, this is ready for me to plant in. If you pull it up and you smell it, it smells kind of funky, kind of like socks, used socks, then you don't want to plant, you want to wait. All right. Okay, I'm running out of battery here as usual. When it's cold, you run low quick. So pigs will be Friday. Friday will be pigs. I will come back to you with another video in a while at the whiteboard, and we're going to discuss this grow area and how livestock works on your homesteading system. All right.